3 is an interesting film for me. As someone who has never seen the first 2 films of the franchise, I went into this film completely blind. So how did that fare? Well, it had mixed results. This is my review for Pitch Perfect 3. So the story of Pitch Perfect 3 is we have all of our characters from the first 2 films who have now moved on and retired and kind of moved away from the singing life with the Bellas and are now trying to get on with their own lives and their own careers to try and further themselves as their own individual people and not as a group. But they are soon brought back together by this competition on an army base which allows them to compete to go on stage with DJ Khaled. And this is what brings them together for another adventure in this universe. I'll start off by talking about Anna Kendrick. Now, I actually really like Anna Kendrick. I always have done. I think she's a fantastic actress, and she is quite varied in terms of the role she picks and what she can do, and I think she's actually quite talented. And that is again represented here in Pitch Perfect 3. I think she is a very great addition to the cast. She knows what she's doing, she's got a handle on everything. She plays off well with all the other characters in the film, and of course this film is mostly around singing, and her singing voice is once again spectacular, as it is in the first 2 films, as I've heard on the songs, because obviously I haven't actually watched them, I just listened to the soundtracks. But her voice is spectacular, and her acting in this film is, once again, fantastic. Now, Rebel Wilson is very hit or miss with me. I think that she can sometimes be really funny in some films like Grimsby, but then can sometimes be a bit lackluster in other areas. And I think it's just the type of actress that she is and the comedy that she portrays on screen. I feel that her comedy sometimes does gel with me and sometimes it doesn't, and that is a bit of a distraction at times. Sometimes she takes me out of films, and I will say that again here in Pitch Perfect 3, she is very hit and miss. I think that sometimes the jokes that she delivers are sometimes quite funny and sometimes are a bit too far and a bit too out there, which you may have heard me complain about in the past with such films like Girls Trip and Rough Night, where there are these jokes that these women make that just go way too far when they talk about things like men and male genitalia, and it's things like that that really just make me cringe, and sometimes that is a theme within this film when it comes to Rebel Wilson. I do really like Haley Steinfeld, however. I think she was really great in this. I've never seen her ever before in a film. I know she's an actress, and I know that she is a singer, and I know she's going to be in the upcoming Bumblebee movie, but I've never seen it before personally, and I was actually really impressed. She was actually a really decent character. Her character was written well. She is perfectly fine at delivering all of her lines. She is a great singer. She had a great screen presence, and I think that's all you really want from a character in a film like this. And I was really pleased and satisfied by Haley's performance, and I'm interested to see what she does in the future in terms of acting, because I think she definitely has large amounts of potential going into the future of her career. There was also Guy Burnett, who was a bit of a weird character because he had this weird connection, and he comes in about halfway through the film, or about a quarter of the way through, and he's kind of got a connection with Anna Kendrick's character. But I actually really liked him. I've never seen him before, I've never heard of the guy before, but he came in and he completely owned it. He owned all the role, he owned all the scenes. He was a really nice, genuine guy, definitely a nice screen presence, and definitely a good play off of with Anna Kendrick's character, and that was kind of his role. And he doesn't have a major turning point in the film. There's nothing that really makes him stand out, but he's just a really nice addition to the cast, which I really enjoyed, and he does add some levity to the film. Now, Ruby Rose is in this, which I feel that was just more of a fan service thing. It's just, I feel that maybe the makers of this film thought, well, audiences who watched Orange is the New Black is probably going to watch this, which I can see where they're coming from, but it is a bit of a weird thing. She does feel a bit shoehorned in here. I mean, she's fine, she's not bad or anything, but it just feels like she was a bit just shoehorned into this film to say, oh look, Ruby Rose is in this film, come and watch it. And like I said, she's not bad, she doesn't really take you out of the film or anything, but she's just a bit distracting at times when you realise, what is she actually doing in this film? Why is she necessary? And also, why is DJ Khaled in this film? I mean, a huge amount of this story revolves around DJ Khaled, and though I think he's hilarious, and he is, I honestly think the funniest thing in this film is just him being in it, and every time he shows up is hilarious. It always reminds me of Ice Cube in Triple X, the one that came out this year, when Ice Cube just shows up at the end with a grenade launcher with gangster music playing everywhere. It was like that, but with DJ Khaled, and it was so strange, but I couldn't help but love it. But it's just, again, he feels really shoehorned into this movie just to have a big star, but I mean, whatever. If DJ Khaled wants to break into acting, go wild. So this film was also partly a comedy, and how did the comedy go down? Well, kind of like what I said with Rebel Wilson, the comedy is a bit on and off. Sometimes I did laugh, and sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I was laughing pretty consistently in one scene, the next scene I didn't laugh at all. It's a very hit and miss thing. I mean, there was never a moment where I laughed out loud, uproariously, but there was never really a moment where I was really going, that was really unfunny. So it's kind of in the middle, it's a bit of a mixed bag, so comedy is also a bit of a mixed bag, no matter what film you talk about, so people are going to find different things funny. Like I said, I find this film sometimes funny, sometimes a bit cringy, and sometimes just a bit bland, so personally I think the comedy's okay. It's not the best, it's not, most certainly not the most funny comedy I've ever seen in my life, but it's definitely not the worst either. So this is also partly a musical themed film, and what was the songs like? Well, even though I've never seen the first two Pitch Perfect films, I have listened to the soundtracks for both of them because I just enjoy all the type of a cappella music that they provide. And I will say that the soundtrack in Pitch Perfect 3 is easily the weakest of the trilogy. It's just the songs don't quite live up to any of the songs that are in the first two Pitch Perfect films, especially, I still think the first one has the most spectacular soundtrack, just because of the treble makers alone. But this film, it does have some good moments, like the riff-off in Pitch Perfect 3 is fantastic. I will say that. I think the riff-off is probably the best one in any of them. But the rest of the songs, I can't really think of any that particularly stand out. There was the song sort of towards the beginning with Haley Steinfeld's character, that was really good, but they are the only really two I can think of off the top of my head that actually make me think, yeah, they were good songs, and they were ones I kind of want to remember. In comparison to the other two films, they just seem to miss the mark. Also, finally, I think this film was far too over the top. I mean, the first two films, from what I can gather, are a bit more grounded and a bit more realistic in their sense and style. This is not the case with Pitch Perfect 3. This one goes way over the bar. It's just really over the top and kind of silly at times, and it does kind of just take away from the fact that this is just supposed to be like a musical competition film, and then it kind of... This movie has action set pieces, and I don't really understand why. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. I mean, this movie, it is a bit more self-aware, so I can give it credit for that, for saying, oh, yeah, I mean, we are a bit silly and we are a bit over the top, so yeah, here you go. Let's just go hog wild with it. But it's not what this film should be, and it's not what this film needs. So it kind of adds an extra layer of baggage onto the film that it doesn't need. And as you're seeing these characters do these over-the-top ridiculous things, and it doesn't quite work, and it doesn't seem to fit with the tone that they'd set for this universe. Overall, I did have a good time with Pitch Perfect 3 though. As someone who's never seen the first two, I had a good time with it. In terms of following the story, there are a couple of character arcs that seem to have been fully completed in this one that I didn't quite get the payoff that it was probably meant to have. But that, again, that's not a problem with the film, that's a problem with me. I obviously have not seen the first two, so I could not have been compensated for that. But also, I feel that the film, sometimes it is a great time, it's a really good laugh, sometimes it's really not. It varies from scene to scene, but if you're somebody who enjoys musicals or just kind of more feel-good movies, then you'll definitely have a good time with this one, and I think I definitely would recommend Pitch Perfect 3 if you're looking for something to watch. If you haven't seen Star Wars and you're still waiting for something to watch in the cinema, then this is probably a good one to go for. So thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a like, share this video with your friends, and subscribe if you want to see more reviews from me and Nick on the CineChat channel. You can also subscribe to see our podcast that we release every single week. And we hope you guys do subscribe, like, share with your friends and family, and also Merry Christmas guys. Thank you for sticking with CineChat this year. It's been a great year and we're looking forward to expanding in 2018. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.